Hello everyone, welcome to my... I know I named it Let's Play, but did I spell it right? Yeah, I did too, nice. Okay. I know I named it Let's Play, but maybe I should just name it Let's Read. I guess that was pretty bad. I don't know. It's kind of a joke, but at the same time, it's true. It's a visual novel, right? So there's a lot of reading. But anyway, alright. So, let's start. Let's get on this. Alright. I did play the demo for this game a few years ago, but I'm not going to pick up on the, I'm just trying to think of the name there. I'm not going to pick up from that save. I'm starting fresh, because I want to remember what happens at the beginning, and if it tells me any button prompts or presses of what to do in certain spots or whatever, then I'll have a refresher. So, let's do this. And I'm going to be reading this out loud. Okay. So, I played that for 2 hours and 9 minutes before? Okay. Do you want the guide to gameplay to be displayed? We recommend the first time. Yes. Okay. The story is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents either are products of of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. Any blah 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 blah. Couldn't read the rest of it. Is that a soccer? Wow. That was a soccer field on top of the building. That's crazy. I had no idea something like that existed. Like, I understand pools on top of buildings, but... We interrupt this program for breaking news regarding the Shinjuku hostage situation. Part of it's cut off for me, I can't read it. A middle-aged man in a ski mask took several employees hostage at an office and something before barricading himself inside. Now that 3 hours had passed, the man it's left up to her imagination. Employees believe the suspect to be a man named Katajima. The suspect has been prior dealings with, and is expecting money problems. Yeah, it's hard for me to read that. Authorities believe this is to be motivation for. The world doesn't change so easy. Always a mystery. Yeah, that's the theme song for this game, apparently. I wonder if any of these names are big names. Maybe they're small-time actors. Shibuya's story is yours to tell. As you play through the game, the various mechanics will be explained. In 428, you follow the stories of multiple protagonists at once. Your decisions impact their experiences as you read the story. What does the day hold in store? Their fate is in your hands. Hopefully you can see them all through to the end. To start, you have two characters, Shinya Kano and Eiichi Endo. Let's begin by checking out Kano's story. Okay. Just 2 more minutes to go. Shinya Kano noted the time again on his watch, scowling at the slow creep of the second hand. The time was 9:58 a.m. Furrows of consternation creased his forehead. He wasn't nervous, but he knew better than to expect everything to go smoothly. Keeping a level head was proving rather difficult. There was no room for failure. Lives were on the line here. He eyed his surroundings. Was the perp really going to show up? When? Where would he be coming from? How would he make his approach? HMV. That's a throwback. The Shibuya Scramble was as packed as ever. A throng of people crossing this way and that, blissfully unaware of the dozens of detectives hidden in its midst. Alright, another minute and a half. Kano glanced down at his watch yet again. A mere 30 seconds had passed. Detective Kano had been with the enforcement arm of Shibuya's criminal affairs section for a year now, but he'd never been part of an operation this big before. He eyed the young woman standing beside the statue up ahead. She was small enough to get lost in the crowd, and she carried a nondescript attached case. Hiromi Asawa, age 19. The attached case in her hands contained a full 50 million yen in cash. Yesterday, her twin sister Maria had been kidnapped. This was the ransom payment, not the reason payment. This was the ransom payment. The culprit had called Hiromi last night at home, referring to her by name and telling her to wait by the statue of Hachiko and Shibuya. It was almost time, but nothing. Kano was staring fixedly at the second hand on his watch when a homeless man sitting on the sidewalk murmured just loud enough for him to hear. Come on, Kano, quit looking at your watch so much. What if the kidnapper sees you? Kano tried to look nonchalant as he lifted his eyes, but the scruffy character continued. You're too nervous, just relax already. You're the one acting suspicious, Sasayama. Kano frowned. Why would some homeless guy be talking to me? Yuji Sasayama was the senior officer of the Shibuya Precinct's Criminal Affairs Division, 5 years older than Kano. Guide. Some words and phrases in the text appear in blue. These are called tips. Press square to underline a tip, and then press X. This will let you read some extra info relating to that word or phrase. There are tips containing general knowledge and ones that are 428. Specific. These are marked with a magnifying glass symbol and a 428 symbol, respectively. Okay, now see, on my screen, that is a light blue. I wish it was a darker blue, because to me that looks matching with the white. But if I stare at it hard enough, I can tell that it's blue. But if it wasn't for that tip, I probably wouldn't have noticed it, because it looks like it blends in with the other font. Official name, Shibuya Central Precinct. Responsible for the safety of approximately 200,000 people in 32 neighborhoods, including Uehara. Oh, my lord. Yugasu Denicho? People are going to be like, oh my god, this guy can't read. Udaga Wacho, Ibisu Nishi, Ibisu Minami? Maybe? Yeah, I think that would be it. Ibisu Minami. Oyamacho, Kamiyamacho, Sakura Gokacho. Oh my god. Sasazuka, Sarugakucho, Shibuya, Shoto, Jinyume, Shinsencho, Jinan, Sendagaya, Daikanyamacho, Doganzaka, Tomigaya, Nanpai, oh my god, Nanpai Dacho, Ninshihara, sorry, Hadagaya, Hachiyamacho, Hatsudai, Higashi, Hiro, Hanmachi, and Mario Yamacho, and Moto Yoyogicho, Yoyogi, and Yoyogi Kamizanocho. Oh my god. Everyone, I apologize if I butcher any of them. Okay, there's no if. I know I definitely butchered a lot of those names. He always went a little overboard with the disguises. He claimed it was all part of the job, but word around the station was that he just liked playing dress up. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, pal. Spare some change. Sasayama lurched to his feet and shuffled in close to Kano. Hey, knock that off. Finally, for the past, Sasayama reeked pretty badly. Well, ain't so suspicious now, huh? He clung to Kano with mock camaraderie, despite the younger man's attempts to pull that away. Come on, Sasayama, cut it out. Sasayama's blithe confidence rattled Kano's nerves. Of course, there was good reason for that. Confidence. This was Kano and Sasayama's jurisdiction, but they were positioned to a good distance from where the handoff was to take place. Jurisdiction. A particular region over which an organization or a member thereof has control of authority refers here to the areas under the jurisdiction of various police precincts. The Metropolitan Police Department, at the pinnacle of Tokyo's police hierarchy, has vastly more authority than local precincts, but since many officers wind up needing to work with both, the outright rivalry between the two isn't as notable as TV dramas may make it seem. The statue of Hachiko was surrounded by elite investigators from one of HQ's special investigation teams. Sometimes two or more tips will appear on a single screen. Press square repeatedly to change which words are underlined. Highlight the tip you wish to read and then press X and continue pressing square or press circle to return to reading the story. Okay. Statue of Hachiko? Bronze statue of a dog erected in 1934. The dog was famous for loyally waiting for his absent master. Well known as a meet-up spot outside of Shibuya Station. Other popular meet-up spots at the station are the display car for the original Tokyo 5000 series, commonly known as the Green Frog, and the Moya statue by the west entrance. The Green Frog looks like a bus, or maybe something from like a subway. The statue of Hachiko, the dog there, that's an interesting story. I never watched it, but it kind of reminds me of Futurama. Apparently there was like an episode where a dog was waiting outside for his master at the beginning of like the show or something, and then the master never came back and he was just sitting there waiting and waiting, and the show like seasons passed by, and the dog eventually like passed away because like, you know, he was waiting for his master and nobody fed the dog, nobody took care of him, nobody called him for his own, they just ignored him, and then yeah, it was pretty sad from what I've seen of it. Anyway, sorry. HQ here refers to the Metropolitan Police Department, the Tokyo Police Section responsible for managing 101 precincts within the city. Japan's largest police organization. In addition to policing Tokyo, it has various other duties and authorities for maintaining public order in the capital. Kano and his partner were just there to provide backup if the kidnapper attempted to flee. Look, just try to relax, we'll be fine. Sasayama gave him a wink. A moment later, the radio squawked in Kano's ear. Alright everyone, it's time. Keep your eyes open. The voice coming in through the earpiece was Koji Kuze, HQ's operations director. Until last year, he'd been in the Shibuya precinct's head detective and Kano's supervisor. We don't know when the perp is going to make contact. Don't let your guard down. Oh, operations director. I just noticed that at the last second. The individual responsible for directing the investigation in the event of a serious crime. If a task force is set up, the operations director is the one who assumes command. TV dramas and other fictional accounts often feature some young prodigy of the MPD as operations director, but in reality, the position usually goes to a proven veteran. Proven? Anyway. Yep, okay. I read all that. You don't sound too worried, Kuze. Kano winced at Sasayama's words. How could this man be so nonchalant? The appointed time had come and gone. Something should be happening. What? Kano smacked himself in the thigh to release a little tension. The sound was louder than he intended, though the suit had his muscular physique. Though the suit hid his muscular physique, it did little to dampen the noise. He needed to stay focused. He might be called to action at any moment. The department handled abduction cases according to a certain standard investigation procedure. Was it an attempt to extort money, or was the motive something personal? The answer to that question determined how they deal with the criminal. And based on that investigation team's initial findings this time around, they probably weren't dealing with a professional kidnapper. Still, in all likelihood, it was someone with quite a long rap sheet. Probably someone who knew the family, but so far they had few leads on who might bear such a grudge. With the situation so unclear, the plan was to apprehend whoever came to make the handoff on site. If the culprit ran with the money, there'd be no guarantee of the hostage's well-being. Still nothing. Sasayama muttered. There he is! He's here! Kuze broke in, his voice spiking into an excited chirp. Really? Excited chirp. Kuze's particular vocal quirk. Whenever he gets overly flustered, excited, or panicked, he slipped into a childish register, prone to babbling and pitching his voice. Subject is a young male in his 20s, wearing a bandana and an orange hoodie. Kuze, normally calm and stoic, was now squawking like an excited child. That only happened when he got particularly worked up. Kano and Sasayama steeled themselves. They could see the subject now. The 20-something male nonchalantly approached Hiromi to talk to her. Alright people, be ready to grab this guy. Kuze was stationed in the mobile command center not far from the intersection, keeping tabs on the situation via video surveillance from the camera team. The young man started speaking enthusiastically to Hiromi. The detectives watched, uncertain. Was this really the kidnapper? Let's see. Hold on just a moment. You'll encounter selections like these during the story. These choices will change the lives of other people in addition to changing your own fate. Use up and down to make your choice, then press X. The current choice will not impact you or any of the other protagonists. That's gotta be him. Kano took a step forward, then hesitated. The situation wasn't entirely clear. He needed to get a better look at things. He needed to get a better look at things. The newcomer held a bundle of letter-sized paper, which he showed to Hiromi as he went on talking. He tried to hand her one of the papers, but she pointedly ignored him. Undeterred, the man kept trying to foist it off on her. Hiromi refused to respond, becoming as motionless as the statue of Hachiko behind her, until finally the man gave up and walked away. Guess it wasn't him. Kano felt the tension of the moment linger in his spine. Guy must have been hitting on her, Sasayama muttered. Hitting on her. Succeeding at meeting someone on the fly like this takes a special knack. Looks are also important. Sometimes, of course, the person trying to get your attention out of nowhere is just trying to make a sales pitch for a product of a nearby establishment. At first glance, it isn't always easy to tell the difference. I mean, she is pretty cute and all. He had a point. Though, of course, something in Sasayama's voice made Kano brace himself. She's got nothing on my Mi-chan. Mi-chan was Sasayama's wife. They'd gotten married just last month. Let me tell you, Kano, married life is the best. You gotta hurry up and give it a try for yourself. This was Sasayama's favorite topic lately, and Kano was getting more and more fed up with it. Sasayama, come on, just knock it off, okay? The phrase had become a common refrain of his since the department partnered them. Fine, fine. Let's talk about your girlfriend then. Huh? How? Now? You can't be serious. Sasagama leaned in close again. What's she like? We're not having this conversation, Kano muttered, looking away. Aw, come on. Sasagama set his hand on Kano's chest, still playing the homeless troublemaker. Show me your phone. Let me see your lock screen. Huh? Sasagama pawed for the phone. You got a pic of your girl on the lock screen, yeah? I do not. But he did. It was scary how on the mark Sasagama instincts were. Hey, cut it out! We're in the middle of an investigation. I am investigating, Sasagama chuckled as he plucked the phone from Kano's pocket. His face scrunched up with astonishment as he looked at the lock screen. The heck is this? It's not... Ain't this Masami Nagahama? 428. Masami Nagahama, a national star, tends to play the heroine on national morning soap operas or in the national historical dramas. Her songs have been a series of national hits, and she's even slated to host the year-end national singing competition program. Everything about her is national. Kano realized he had to bite the bullet. No, that's my girlfriend. Her name's Rumi, and she's... Sasayama cut him off. You're telling me this ain't Masami Nagahama, the famous actress? Because this right here is Masami Nagahama. Like I said, you sly old dog. Trying to make like you're dating Masami Nagahama. I'm not. I mean, I guess Rumi does kind of look like her? Sasayama let out a huff. For real? You really think I'm gonna fall for that? There's nothing to fall for, I swear. Sasayama scowled, unconvinced. Alright, then why don't you marry her? Kano stammered, but he had no answer. The truth was, he would have happily married her already, but there were obstacles that needed to be overcome. Okay, playtime's over. Let's focus on the job. Sasagama handed back Kano's phone and turned his gaze back to Hitomi. It's kind of weird that they're not showing her face. Kano let out a quick, uneasy sigh. But his shoulders did feel looser. Maybe Sasagama had been trying to relieve a bit of the tension. Maybe he should be grateful. I like that music, though. By now, several minutes had passed since the guy with the papers had gone away. He peered at Hitomi. The strain on her face was visible. In addition to the weight of the attached case itself, the 10,000 yen bills it held weighed close to 6 kilos. Her slender arms must have been getting tired. Still, she refused to set the case down. She wasn't taking any chances with her sister's life. The kidnapping case had begun that day before at around 7 p.m. This is MPD Dispatch. The Shibuya precinct is reporting a missing person believed to be an abduction. In Japanese law, the act of indirectly luring or deceiving someone into the control of a third party is known as kidnapping. Using forcible threats or violence to achieve the same result is known as abduction. Subject is Maria Osawa, a 19-year-old student at Midoriyama Academy. Last seen at the LL Diner near campus. Hey, B-Gamer. Hey, finally made it. I'm streaming a visual novel. Some of it, anyway. I think it's pretty lengthy. I'm not sure how long, but I know I'm not going to be doing the full thing tonight, because my throat, it's going to be so sore. I'm already starting to feel the strain. Anyway, continuing. A man was allegedly seen forcing her into a car nearby. All officers in the vicinity report to the scene at once. Kano and Sasayama had been working a burglary case in Jinyumei's 5th district when they got the call. The two arrived at the LL Diner at 7:15 p.m. At roughly the same time, several other officers showed up to secure the area, blocking off entry to nearby roadways and monitoring the surrounding establishments. Inside the restaurant, Kano and Sasayama were met by the girl who'd reported the kidnapping. It was the victim's twin sister, Hitomi. Could you tell us about when Maria was taken, starting from the very beginning? Kano said, keeping his voice low. My sister and I, we were supposed to go to a party together today. Hitomi was trembling, her voice hoarse. But I messed up the time. I showed up right at 7, an hour later than I was supposed to. So Maria had gone alone to the party, a mixer for locals and exchange students. Hitomi, arriving late, had showed up just in time to glance out through the restaurant window and see her sister getting shoved into a car. She described the vehicle as a blue station wagon of Japanese make. Why? Why would something like this happen to her? Hitomi held back her tears, but she was shaking all over. Did you get a look at the kidnapper? Yes, it was a man, middle-aged. There was another eyewitness, Leland Palmer. He identified himself as a lecturer at Hitomi and Maria's school. I saw too. It's like Hitomi says. I heard Hitomi cry out, and so I went to the window to look. And his Japanese was halting, as if he hadn't been in the country very long. And I think that maybe the kidnapper was working alone. Leland explained that he'd seen the man shove Maria into the back seat, then clamber into the driver's seat. I wonder if that was supposed to be climb into the driver's seat. Anyway, if he had an accomplice, wouldn't they have been driving? Neither Hitomi nor Leland had gotten a look at the suspect's face. Kano was interviewing others who had been on the scene, looking for other potential witnesses, when his phone rang. It was Yoshio Kajiwara, one of the senior detectives. We've set up a task force for the investigation. Get back to the station once you have a handle on the situation there. Barely half an hour had passed between the time the kidnapping was reported and the time the task force began operation. 428 Task Force. Roughly 150 people were working on the case in the Shibuya's precinct conference room. The main force of work is HQ's first special investigation unit. Additionally, other detective sections, a riot squad, and investigators from neighboring precincts have been assembled. When Kano and Sasayama got back to the precinct station, Kuze had already arrived from HQ. He informed them a response team he had been informed to investigate the victim's home. Response team. In a case where someone has been abducted for ransom, it is often difficult to resolve the situation without cooperating with the victim's family, but the family can also be a hindrance in making an arrest. To help guide the family's actions, a response team is assembled and stationed at the victim's home, led by an investigation with the proper training. Kano could feel a peculiar tension in the air. Unfamiliar MPD detectives scurried to and fro around the Shibuya's offices. I think that was to and from, but the M didn't make it in there? Anyway, he pulled one of them aside to get a quick update. An hour had passed since the kidnapping. There had been one new development. The perpetrator had made a threatening call to the victim's home. He said the following: "Tomorrow, 10 a.m. by Hachiko in Shibuya. Have the sister hit Omi, bring 50 million yen. If not, the girl's life is forfeit." Kajiwara from the precinct was put on the response team, along with the detectives from elsewhere who'd received special training in abduction cases. Normally, a local precinct detective wouldn't have gone undercover in a victim's home. Kuze, however, had decided that having a knowledgeable local was crucial and had sent Kajiwara along. The detectives disguised themselves as delivery people and movers to make their way inside without arousing suspicion, arriving there at 8:30. The response team had come prepared to run a trace. Sorry for sneezing. Anyway, if the kidnapper contacted the family a second time. Hello, Kakashi. How am I? I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for asking. Just playing a visual novel and reading out the text there. So, my friend can sit and watch and follow along as well. Thank you. Kind of like Stardew, but you're in this run and you travel to different planets. Ah, okay. Sounds good, B-Gamer. Alright. Okay, trace. The act of pinpointing the source of an incoming phone call. The police are not allowed to do this independently without oversight. They must go through a formalized process that includes securing the cooperation of the phone company. In the past, conducting the trace itself would take time, but nowadays, acquiring the location can be practically instantaneous. But there were no further calls. Kano checked his watch again. 20 minutes had now passed since the time designated for the ransom handoff. The kidnapper had yet to appear. Crap, you think we might have spooked him? He wondered aloud. Hey, stay calm. Sasayama scanned the passing throng. He's just playing with us. Why did this guy even pick this place? Kano voiced the question he'd been asking himself ever since he'd heard the kidnapper's demands. Sasayama shrugged. Figured he must want to blend in with the crowd and have the money and disappear before anyone knows he's there, would be my guess. In that case, why not pick Shinjuku or Ginza? The big crowd didn't just benefit the kidnapper after all. It also allowed the police to use the sea of people to conceal their own operation. Right now, there were 50 detectives stationed within a 50-meter radius of where Hiromi stood. I'm trying to find the statue here. Maybe that's them over to the left there on the screen? I don't know. It's probably just sticking out like a sore thumb, but I'm just not seeing it. Anyway, the kidnapper would be taking a major risk if his plan was to nab the ransom money and run. That's what bothered Kano. Any criminal with half a brain would know better than to do a handoff in front of Hachiko. You're overthinking things, pal, Sasayama grumbled. No, I'm not. Kano reached into his pocket and pulled out his notepad. This was Kano's dick diary, which he always kept close at hand. Sasayama rolled his eyes. That thing again? Kano ignored him, flipping through the notepad pages. Aha! Here it is. Dictum number 89. The more irrelevant something seems, the more relevant it's bound to be. It was a favorite saying of Kyuzo Tateno, an assistant inspector from Shibuya precinct. Tateno was the kind of detective Kano aspired to be. For the current operation, he'd been placed in charge of Hitomi's personal safety. He was in position to defend her as soon as the ransom had been handed off. Of course, Hitomi hadn't been informed of how much protection she was under. There was a risk that if she acted too secure, it might alert the kidnapper. I think Tadino has the right idea. Sasayama snorted quietly. Maybe I mean he's a great detective. Don't get me wrong, but do you know how many irrelevant things there are to consider? Again, Kano ignored him. If it didn't matter to anyone. Reading comprehension. Again, Kano ignored him. It didn't matter if nobody else understood. Kano had faith in Tadino as both a detective and as an individual. He had first witnessed Tadino's brilliance during a standoff at a financial company 3 years earlier. A man had shut himself in an office, splashing gasoline everywhere and threatening to set the place ablaze. While the others hesitated, Tadino unflinchingly doused himself with the gasoline and strode into the building, where he managed to talk the man down and secured the scene. The others had been awestruck by Tadino's actions. Kano, who at the time had been content to be a run-of-the-mill policeman, had found it quite inspiring. Let's see, I will be right back. Thank you. Thank you for the host, Kakashi. Still, you know, Sasayama murmured under his breath. As great a detective as Tatino is, it's not like anyone else in the world has ever heard of him. I suppose not, Kano said. So? Only time anyone hears a cop's name is if he's caught up in some scandal or killed in the line of duty. I mean, doesn't really seem fair, does it? Kano just shrugged. It was a strange definition of unfair, really. I mean, you've got celebrity chefs and celebrity hairdressers and stuff. So how come no celebrity gumshoes, you know? Look, please. Can you just focus on what we're doing here? Kano rubbed his eyes, then turned his attention back to Hitomi. What's the matter? Been sleep? Not enough, I guess. Did you eat? Didn't have time. Between bringing in supplies for the base of operations, readying the team's vehicles. Base of operations. A base of operations is usually set up in a large room at the precinct, such as an auditorium. MPD and precinct investigators assemble there, and communications equipment, investigation resources, and such are brought in because of the scale and scope of these activities. Newspaper reporters can be liable to notice, and so in cases such as kidnapping, where a victim's personal safety is at stake, the flow of information is tightly controlled. Photocopying hundreds of documents and various other tasks. Kano had barely slept the previous night and hadn't gotten a meal either. What have you been doing? Sasayama puffed out his chest. Saving up my energy for today. So, you were sleeping. Kano gave away a chuckle at his partner's lack of shame. There he is! Kusei's voice chirped suddenly through Kano's earpiece. A man in his 20s wearing a sleeveless red jacket. He's carrying a garbage bag. A young man had emerged from the crowd about 15 feet from where Hitomi was standing. He strode toward her, a sinister look on his face. He didn't match Hitomi's description, but Kano felt a jolt of nerves. All the same. Maybe the kidnapper had hired some young street punk to snatch the ransom payment. That our guy? What do you think, Kano? Sasayama whispered. Yeah, I think he's gotta be. This was it. Kano swallowed the lump in his throat. He bent his knee, ready to act fast. Blood rushed to his leg muscles, banishing the stiffness that had begun to take hold. Could this be the culprit? Or perhaps... The young man tried to snatch her briefcase from Hitomi, but she clung to it with desperate strength. It was him. The detectives rushed in. Whoa, hey, what the hell? The young man cried out frantically and tried to dart away, but the officers closed in, forcing him bodily to the ground. Target secured. Oh geez, I think we've got another suspect on the scene. Eek, he's taken the ransom! Kuze's hysterics made Kano spin around. Sure enough, a foreign-looking man was sprinting away, attached case in hand. The mob of detectives scrambled to pursue. Before Kano could react, most of them had run off, leaving him to look after the original suspect. What should I do with this guy, sir? Might have some connection to the kidnapper. Should I bring him in? Huh? Oh, sure, that'd be swell. I'm on it. With the help of one of the remaining detectives, Kano brought the suspect back to the Shibuya's precinct. Look, how many times do we have to go through this? Cut the crap. In the interrogation room, the young man who gave his name as Achi Endo steadfastly insisted on his innocence. Why did you try to steal that case? Kano watched Ichi's face intently. Like I said, it looked heavy, so I was just trying to help her out. It wasn't inconceivable that a young guy would want to help a pretty girl. Inconceivable! Anyway. But Hitomi had just been standing there hardly in desperate need of assistance. She hadn't set the case down, so I figured there had to be something important inside. An entry from Kano's Dick diary shot through his mind. Dick Dictum number 25. When the tongue slips, grab it and yank out the truth. Classic advice for questioning. Something important, you say, such as... How the heck would I know? Achi spat. He huffed and slumped back in his chair. This standard textbook back and forth had been going on for nearly an hour. Kano didn't mind chasing down criminals that was all well and good, but questioning suspects was another key part of the job. Plenty of off-the-scene work went into cracking the case. Once again, he had Achi explain what he'd been doing starting from the beginning. When Kano finally emerged from the interrogation room for a short break, he learned that there had been some progress on the case at the crime scene. What the police hadn't been able to determine yet, however, was whether or not Maria was safe. Fighting back his anxiety, Kano consulted his Dick diary. Dick Dictum number 54. Haste makes waste. He felt his tension subside, remembering the right maxim always helped. It was life casting a magic spell. Kano returned to confront Ichi once more. You were there to act as a distraction to mess up the investigation, weren't you? Huh? Ichi looked a bit dumbfounded. What are you on about? Dick Dictum number 55. The truth hungers to be free. You hungry? Got some, katsudon. Katsudon, Japanese dish consisting of a bowl of white rice topped with breaded pork, cutlet, and egg. There are several variations such as sauce katsudon, I think that's how you pronounce it, where the egg is replaced with Worcestershire sauce, and miso katsudon, where the pork is stewed in miso. Not typically the sort of thing a policeman offers a suspect during an interrogation. This could be seen as baiting with food, and is to be avoided. Ichi nodded silently. Ichi devoured the bowl of katsudon with gusto. He looked like he hadn't eaten in a while. Alright then, spill it. What's this guy after? Ichi just shrugged. I don't know, he murmured, a thick slice of laden pork between his teeth. How many accomplices do you have? Kano asked. But Ichi just shook his head as he inhaled his food. Resigningly, Kano flipped through his notebook once more. Let's see. Number 115. Use the lights to your advantage. As the minutes ticked past, he found himself referring to his book again and again, trying a dozen different methods to tease out whatever his suspect might be hiding. The experience began to feel strangely surreal, their two voices echoing hollowly in the interrogation room. Eventually, Kano looked at the clock and realized the question had been going for nearly 5 hours. He still hadn't made any headway. What was he supposed to do next? Tadino would know, but he sure didn't. Still, he was determined to do whatever he could to keep the victim and her family safe. Gritting his teeth in frustration, he pursued the dick diary like it was scripture. Number 116. The monotonous questioning was clearly tiring Ichi out. His eyelids drooped like they were beginning to get heavy. Number 117. Get them when they're tired. Kano's eyes gleamed. You're part of the criminal gang, huh? Ichi's head slumped forward heavily. Nodding off basically was the same as nodding yes, right? Mr. Kuze, I did it. The young guy was grabbed at the handoff site. He finally confessed to the crime. Oh god, no. What? What are you talking about? Kuze laughed in disbelief. We're just about to apprehend the mastermind here. Huh? Kano clutched his cell phone, dumbstruck. Listen, why don't you... look, just wait there at HQ, okay? No, it can't be. After the kidnapping case wrapped up, Kano tendered his resignation. Guess I'm not cut out to be a detective after all, he thought to himself. He dropped the dick diary on his desk as he left the Shibuya precinct for the last time. Bad end. Number 1, So Long Shibuya. Kano wound up at a bad end. However, this does not mean that the choice you made for Kano was the wrong one. One of the other protagonists, Ichio Endo, has an impact on Kano's fate here. You can avoid a bad end by making proper decisions. In another character's story, for a detailed hint, check the tip by underlining the bad end title, pressing square and then X. Hint. Kano had every reason to suspect Ichi Endo, but arresting him turned out to be a mistake. If Ichi hadn't approached Hiromi, this wouldn't have happened. Try playing Ichi's story up to 10:30 and make a choice that keeps him from going up to her. If you do that, Kano won't even have a chance to arrest him, and things should play out differently. Let me read this again. Oh, try playing Ichi's story up to 10:30 and make a choice that keeps him from going up to her. Okay. Really? Alright. You can now select Ichi Endo, one of the other protagonists. Let's follow Ichi's story for a little while. Ichi Endo called out at the door to his father's room. Okay, I'm heading out. Sure. His father sounded unconcerned. He didn't even open the door. Sure you don't want me to stay here in the shop? It's not like we're gonna get any customers. H.E. grimaced. Yeah, I guess not. The drawer by the front door held a stack of heavy-duty trash bags. H.E. pulled a few of them out. Guess it's gonna be that kind of day. He stuffed the trash bags into his pocket, then slipped on his favorite pair of sneakers. The entryway to H.E.'s home also led into the family shop. Various places of electronics were piled up, like so much junk in the tiny retail space. The slightest bump brought the risk to an avalanche. H.E. wove his way through the gap in the appliances like a spelunker exploring a cave. From Shibuya Station, if you make your way past the 109 building, then up through Daganzaka, you'll come across an old shopping district. Nestled in the outskirts of Endo Electronics, in the same place it's been for decades. Within its dimly lit interior, you'll find rows of wares all caked in dust. At a glance, you might well assume the place was closed. A mom-and-pop place like Endo's couldn't compete with big consumer chains booming throughout Shibuya. So far, the store had remained in business thanks to the locals who appreciated that they made house calls to do repairs. But things weren't looking good for the future. Ichi, the eldest son and nominal successor to the business, had no interest whatsoever in working there. Ichi stepped out of the shop and into the sunny morning air. Did I read that right? Ichi stepped out of the shop and into the sunny morning air. Okay. The good weather lifted his spirits. Alrighty, time to do this. He unfurled one of the big garbage bags, which caught the wind and fluttered like a cape. Then he slowly made his way toward Shibuya Station, scanning the surroundings all the while. Jeez, this place is filthy. He paused to pick up a plastic bottle that had been tossed on the ground. Then, with a heavy sigh, he slipped a crushed receptacle into his trash bag. That's recyclables. Why would you put it in a trash bag? He'd been picking up trash around town like this for about 6 months now. It had gotten so that the sort of garbage most people would hardly notice stood out to him like a sore thumb. What a nice guy. Goes around picking up garbage? Who does that these days? Most days he filled his trash bag to the top by the time he made it from his house in Daganzaka to the train station. Today he was halfway to the station when a woman's anxious voice caught his attention. I'm sorry. I'm in a bit of a hurry here. He looked up and saw a timid-looking woman being confronted by two men, one with brown hair, one with black. From the look of them, he guessed that the men were scouts for some hostess club. He ran into this sort of thing pretty frequently on his trash cleaning walks around town. Another kind of trash to take care of. Ichi quickly interposed himself between the girl and the two recruiters. Hey, can't you see that you're bothering her? Huh? Who the hell are you? The two men glared. Take a hike, pal. Ichi stood his ground. Look, she ain't interested. You're just gonna have to find some other mark. The hustler's annoyance turned to open rage. Well, listen to you. Got a bit of a mouth, huh, buddy? The brown-haired thug smacked his lips around the chewing gum like a dog worrying a bone. How about we take this someplace more quiet, yeah? Someplace more quiet. What this means can depend on the person speaking to a young woman. Let's go someplace more quiet. Might suggest a cafe or a park, but to a street punk it might mean an alley where passerbys are unlikely to interrupt. The girl stood by uneasily watching the goings-on. Hey, take it easy. I'm not looking for trouble. Is that supposed to be an apology? On your knees and beg, pal. The man spat his gum onto the ground. Ichi looked down at the glistening wad of gum on the sidewalk. His last shred of goodwill vanished. You better pick that up. right now. What? Didn't you hear me? Because I told you to get back on your knees and back. Eiji's hand shot out, grabbing the man by the jaw. Whoa, easy, pal. The other man's bravado drained from his face. Eiji tightened the grip on the brown-haired hustler's jaw. Sweat dripped from the man's reddening brow. The man struggled, but Eiji just tightened his grip. Gun's a real pain in the ass to clean up after it's gotten stuck to the street, you know. Ever stop to consider that? Wait, are you? The other hustler's panicked eyes had fixed on Eiji's chest. Gah! Oh crap! That shirt, man! The guy's voice was starting to break. That's Mean Clean! A guy with a Mean Clean shirt. Carrying around a trash bag? That means his face went pale. Gwa? You mean clean? Or Gwa, mean clean? The other man echoed the words through his held shut jaw, tears welling up in his eyes. Get it right, pal. Eichi clenched the man's jaw harder still. It's Mean Clean. Ow, 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 ow. We're sorry, man. You're Eichi, right? Dude, we honestly had no idea. Come on, man, you gotta cut us some slack. The man scrambled to snatch the wad of gum off the street, stuffing it into his pants pocket. Finally, Eichi let go of his companion. The brown-haired hustler's face was twisted up with fear. Tears streamed down his cheeks. Gasping out hasty apologies, the two thugs scampered off. Hey, so... A shy smile came to the girl's face. 428, girl. Ryoko Kenuma, a second-year student at Midoriyama Academy's law school. These hustlers managed to corner her while she was on her way to a part-time job at a cafe. It's a popular plot in the trashy e-novels for the main character to fall in love with a hustler like these guys, but such things rarely happen in real life. Thank you for saving me. No, I apologize. Huh? The girl stared in surprise. You'll run into creeps like that now and then, but don't hold it against us. Shibuya is a good town. Yeah. Okay. Eichi gave her a quick wave, then turned and continued his way down to Dogenzaka. Eichi was Shibuya, born and raised. He was keenly aware of all the changes that the world had seen since he was a kid. Grocers, stalls, and inconspicuous little side streets, tiny parks nestled between buildings. Eichi knew it all like the back of his hand. Trash, human or otherwise, had no place in this town, not on his watch. Eichi made his way down towards Shibuya Station. Throngs of people shuffled to and fro across the street. Across the Scramble. Sorry. The view shifted constantly from one moment to the next, almost as if the city itself were alive. And if the city was a living thing, then Shibuya Station was its heart, with streets like Bunkamura Dori and Center Gai serving as the arteries pumping a bloodstream made of people. Today, as ever, the heart was pumping that blood to every nook and cranny of Shibuya. And there was Eichi, just another part of this great urban organism. Guess I'm one of the city's white blood cells? Okay. Or wait, maybe I'm a red blood cell. Hold on. Is that right? Or did I have it right the first time? White blood cells eliminate pathogens from the bloodstream. Red blood cells carry oxygen throughout the body. Eichi was probably thinking of white blood cells. Emerging from his reverie, he noticed a rather conspicuous woman standing by the statue of Hachiko outside Shibuya Station. Ooh, she's totally my type. My type. To be up someone's alley, to be someone's cup of tea. Wonder if she's a model or a small-time actress or something. Looks like she's waiting for someone. Probably another guy. Dang. Good looking as she was, there was no way she wasn't already taken. What kind of guy scored a girl like that? Probably the rich-ass CEO of an IT company. Or I think maybe IT company or something. Crouching down to tie off the trash bag, he continued gazing wistfully at the girl. Then he noticed something peculiar. She was carrying a detached case, the kind of businessman might use. It was a large case, and apparently so heavy that she was struggling to hold it despite using both hands. Hey, now what kind of person makes a young lady lug around something heavy like that? H.E. figured he'd offered to carry it for her. Or B. But first, I gotta dump this trash. He looked around to see if there was a garbage bin nearby. He reached a decision point. Let's have H.E. not approach Hidomi. Use up and down to select an option, then press X. Oh. It's telling me what to do. I'm hoping it doesn't do this in the whole entire game. But first, I gotta dump this trash. He looked around to see if there was a garbage bin nearby. Now Ichi won't approach Hidomi, which means he will avoid being arrested by Kano. At the same time, Kano's fate will also change, and he will no longer wind up at a bad end. So let's switch back to Kano's story using the time chart. Press triangle to open it. This is the time chart. It shows the protagonist's progression. Through the story, decision points are marked with the branching icon, or the fork icon. Kano's fate has changed based on Eiichi's actions. Select Kano's 1030 block and then press X. I suppose you could call it that. Kano gave a wry chuckle at his partner's lack of shame. There he is. Kuze's voice chirped suddenly through Kano's earpiece. The man in the black coat, he's not Japanese, looks to be in his early 30s. Previously, Eiichi got mixed up with Kano and the police, but now another man has appeared instead by changing what Eiichi did. You've also changed Kano's story. Four men had emerged from the crowd. About 15 feet from where Hidomi was standing, he made his way toward her, his expression blank. He didn't match the description Hidomi had given them, but Kano felt a jolt of nerves all the same. Maybe the kidnapper was using an accomplice to snatch the ransom payment. Alright, Sasayama raised an eyebrow. This may be our guy. This was it. Kano swallowed the lump on his throat, and he bent his knee ready for action. Blood rushed to his leg muscles, banishing the stiffness that had begun to take hold. Was this the culprit? Or perhaps the stranger took hold of the attached case. It was him. And en masse, the detectives began to close in. Let's go, Kano. On it. Sasayama and Kano leapt into action, but they never expected what happened next. With the case clutched in both arms, the man veered suddenly, running right toward them. Keep out. Kano's story has suddenly hit a keep out. Keep out refers to a point in the story where the progress is currently stopped. In order to advance beyond a keep out, you need to jump from another protagonist story at 10:30. Eiichi has the text. Young man in a suit said as red keywords. Checking these Red keywords will allow you to jump from Eiichi's story back to Kano's. Now, head back to Eiichi's story and keep an eye out for that key phrase. Try following the story from Eiichi at 10:30. Approach the girl? If I do this again. But first I gotta dump this trash. Looked around to see if there was a garbage bin nearby. Huh? A man had come up beside the girl. He was dressed in black and he wasn't Japanese. It looked like they were having a conversation. The girl nodded tensely at something the man said. Eiichi stared. Something tells me that's not her boyfriend. The girl handed the attached case over to the man. He took hold of it with his right hand and began walking briskly away. Whoa! A nearby homeless man suddenly leapt over Eiichi and broke into a run, as if he'd been waiting for this very moment. Homeless man. Yuji Sasayama, a detective of the Shibuya precinct known as the Cosplay Detective due to the strange outfits he wears while on stakeout. He partnered with Shinya Kano for the kidnapping investigation. Sprinting alongside him, a young man in a suit. Some words in the text appear in red. Red text denotes important keywords that let you jump between different protagonists. Stories, this allows you to shift between characters at specific points. These can also allow you to clear out a keep out and another character's story and let you read on. If you come across red text, press square to unline it and press X. A window will appear, allowing you to jump from one protagonist to another at that point, then press X to continue. The other character's story after the keep out. Give it a try. By performing a jump from this screen, you can advance another protagonist story past a keep out. Press X to confirm and jump over to Kano's story. It's kind of weird how they do this. It seems really confusing in that, but I give them effort. I'll give them some points for doing something different in a game, like a visual novel. Let's go, Kano. On it. Sasayama and Kano leapt into action. You did it! Jump successful. In 428, you will often need to jump to get past another character's keep out. Jump from red keywords clear keep out. Keep this in mind as you advance throughout the story. Okay, there won't be any more tutorial messages for a while. If you get stuck somewhere, try changing protagonists or making different decisions to advance. You can now use the time chart and the main menu. From the main menu, you can access gameplay explanations and adjust settings. Press triangle to open the time chart and options to open the main menu. Oh my. But they never expected what happened next. With the case clutched in both arms, the man suddenly veered, running right toward them. What? Catching sight of the two detectives, the suspect staggered to a halt, then bolted off in a new direction. Kano whipped off his costume glasses and followed in hot pursuit. At the crosswalk, the signal changed to red, and the flow of route traffic abruptly halted. Just as quickly, hundreds of cars all lurched back into motion. There was no escape for the culprit now, or so it appeared. The converged cops slowed their pace, confident their man was cornered. Then the foreigner barreled straight into the intersection, dodging between the oncoming cars without any hesitation. The mob of detectives came to to a halt and not eager to rush to their deaths along with him. Kano, however, remained in hot pursuit, charging into the traffic at the crossing. Kano, are you crazy? Come back! Kano heard Sasayama shouting, but his feet kept carrying him onward. With shouts and sirens echoing all around him, Kano closed in on the foreigner. Just a little closer. Just a little closer, and he'd be in tackling range. He leaned forward, preparing to pounce, his eyes fixed on the culprit's feet. It was now or never. Kano, back off! Don't take him down! It was Kuze shouting through Kano's earpiece. Huh? Kano hesitated in surprise. Had he really just been ordered not to apprehend the criminal? Let him go for now. The real perp is someplace else. Perp is police jargon for perpetrator here. Kuze is referring to the fact that the principal offender in the case must be elsewhere. Real perp. What had happened to the plan? He'd been told all that personnel were to secure the area ASAP. Didn't HQ want to catch the perpetrator? Or them to catch the perpetrator? Arrest team. Police team dedicated exclusively to the task of apprehending the criminal. While kidnapping case is in progress, the roles of the officers involved are carefully designated so that every officer is ready to take immediate action as the situation develops. Typically, tried and true veteran MPD officers are put in charge of teams for breaking into buildings or apprehending the suspect. Arrest team stay on foreigners on the foreigner's tail. Forensics team, get busy cross-referencing photos. Forensics team deployed by the MPD to handle the actual tests and techniques on scale investigation, such as collecting and comparing fingerprints and analyzing photos of the suspects. Even if this foreigner was only an underling hired for this one task, the police had now tipped their hand that they'd been lying in wait. If they didn't lock things down now and get more info on the kidnapper, a girl's life may be at stake. Kano recalled another maxim from his Dick diary. Dick dictum number 12. Always assume a worst case scenario. If Kuze had told him to let this guy go, that implied he was counting on the team that was now in position. But if the crook had planned a way to break through the police dragnet and escape with the ransom, and he succeeded, what was the right call here? Should he take this guy down or back off after all? Letting the perp escape now is too big of a risk. He had to catch this guy ASAP. Let the other officers chase after the guy. Kano had his own job to do. I'm gonna do what I'm told. Usually I would go with A, but I'm gonna see it, like, listening is, the best advice. Kuze's instructions had been clear. Let the other officers chase after the guy. Kano had his own job to do. He broke off his pursuit, pointing the next wave of detectives. He broke off his pursuit, pointing the next wave of detectives in the direction the foreigner had fled. Kano had almost gotten close enough to get a good look at the guy's face, but if Kuze had ordered him to let the guy go, well, his boss should know what he was doing. The perp was someone else's problem now. He had just ceased his pursuit when Kuze's panicked voice sounded shrill in his ear. Eat! Someone taken Hitomi! Oh god, the woman's kidnapped now? Kano recognized Kuze's trademark squawking immediately. Subject is male, he appears to be carrying a gun. He's fleeing in the direction of Meiji Dori. What? Kano could hardly believe it. Hitomi had been kidnapped. Had she been abducted by whoever had taken Maria? But why? Mustn't someone have been waiting for the moment when the police took their eyes off her? Something's very wrong here. What in the world was going on? Kano hurried to search for the man who had taken Hitomi. If he was heading toward Meiji Dori, there was a good chance he'd gone down one of the alleyways nearby. After darting through the side street, he spotted a different man, another foreigner, crossing the intersection a few dozen meters ahead. The man was dressed in black, just like the guy who grabbed the ransom money. Kuze's right, the kidnapper wasn't acting alone. But wait, something's amiss. Or was amiss. Hitomi was with him. was she? Kano skidded around the corner, then stopped short. The man in black was standing there, pointing a gun right at him. Before Kano could react, the man fired. Kano felt hot all over, as if he were on fire. All except for his cheek pressed against the asphalt in the palm of his hands. They felt so cold. There was nothing he could do. Nothing, that is, except lie there and watch as the killer turned and walked away. Bad end. Number 4, shot by a foreigner. By trying to find a man who'd taken Hiromi, Kano ran into a different criminal, and unfortunately for him, he got shot. If the criminal hadn't been able to get near Hiromi, she probably wouldn't have been taken. Have Eiichi make the choice to talk to Hiromi instead at 10:35. Wait a minute. Then seemingly from everywhere, a whole bunch of other guys burst into motion. First one, then another. A third, a fourth, a fifth. Over a dozen now. What the heck? Clearly something big was going down. Were they after the attached case? Within moments, Eiichi lost sight of them all through the crowd. With that many people chasing them, the guy with the case was sure to get caught. But wait, what about the girl? That girl. Eiichi turned back around. The girl was still there. She was staring in the direction that the man who'd taken the case had gone, a worried expression on her face. Hey, Eiichi couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. Maybe he should talk to her and ask what was going on? Or B, another crazy day in Shibuya. They had to be shooting the scene for a film on location. It would probably be a mistake to intrude. Hey. Eiichi couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. Maybe he should talk to her and ask what was going on. But just as he was making up his mind, a middle-aged man in a ratty business suit shuffled awkwardly over to her first. Hey, Tomo. How are you? Was there something wrong with one of his legs? He was using a cane to walk. Then one of his hands slipped into his jacket pocket. Eiichi could scarcely believe his eyes. A revolver? Revolver. Colt Detective Special, a .38 caliber revolver introduced in 1927 by Colt's Manufacturing Company. A classic example of a snub-nosed revolver. As the name implies, the weapon is frequently carried by detectives, narcotics officers, and the like for self-defense. I'm good, honey. How are you? What are we playing? I'm playing a visual novel named called 428 Shibuya Scramble. I was going to say how long I've been probably playing for, but I just remembered that the time is down below there and you probably see it. Unless you're watching from the PS4, then an hour and 24 minutes and 35 seconds. It's a novel Pester is reading, and it's full of suspense. Basically it is. Suddenly a young man came running through the crowd. Seeing him, the man with the cane turned on his heel and vanished in the scramble. Something big was going down. What is all this? The young man was closing in on the girl, his expression grim. That guy's up to no good. Ichi sprang into motion. Hi-ya! Leaping. Okay. It's kind of hard to see some of the words because of, like, the font in the background. Leaping high, Ichi delivered a flying kick right between the man's shoulder blades. The guy went down, but recovered surprisingly fast, spinning back to his feet to grapple with Ichi. What the hell is your problem? What the hell is your problem, man? Ichi snapped. The two stood staring each other down as the crowd swirled around them. Let go of me. You let go of me first. After you let go of me, sure. You first, pal. Don't you call me pal, man. Oh, God. We're getting into the, hey, I'm not your friend, pal. Hey, I'm not your pal, buddy. Hey, I'm not your buddy there, guy. I'm not, that kind of thing. Anyway. Don't call me man, pal. Neither man was willing to yield. The crowd had parted to avoid the scuffed passerby. The crowd had parted to avoid the scuffle. Passerby were staring from all sides. Well, crap. Ichi got a sudden sinking feeling. What the hell am I even doing? Jumped in over my head as usual. His anger melted away. He loosened his grip. Without further argument, the other man let go of Ichi's jacket. Turning quickly away, the stranger hurried over to the statue of Hachiko, where he dropped to his knees, dejected. The girl who'd been standing there was nowhere to be seen. Maybe this was the guide she'd been waiting on. The guy was clearly upset that she was missing. Ichi suddenly felt kind of bad for him. He decided it would be wise to leave while the guy's attention was elsewhere. Whew. He hurried back along the road to his house. The wind had gone out of his sails, and he didn't feel much like cleaning up trash anymore. Oh well, guess I'll read some manga and go to bed. Better play it safe before the day got any worse. Bad end. Number 6, Tussle with a Stranger. Ichi's interference with the young man, it was Kano, disrupted the detective's sting. If Ichi hadn't acted on impulse when he saw Kano heading for Hiromi, things might have gone differently, but how can you make sure Kano doesn't return to the Scramble and startle Ichi? The key lies further along in Kano's story. Okay, alright. Oh, petty levels OP, yeah. Let him ask, hi! To my buddy. Tell him, my friend. Alright, so let's see. So that's the bad end. But I'm kind of curious. What happens if I go back here with this part and select to not interfere? I'm going to select B and see what happens. Another crazy day in Shibuya. They had to be shooting a scene for a film on location. It would probably be a mistake to intrude. Yeah, I bet that's what this is. Some TV show about a kidnapping and the girl has to make a ransom handoff. And there's probably some actor lurking around here playing the suave, handsome detective. Ichi gave a chuckle and turned away. A soothing breeze blew by as wispy clouds drifted overhead. They picked a nice day for a shoot. Smiling inwardly, he resumed his trash-picking mission, wondering what other surprises the day would hold. A few moments later, he heard a loud bang, and the Scramble went into an uproar. Huh? Someone blew a tire? Or someone blew a tire? People were running from all directions to see what had made the sound. Oh, maybe they're shooting an action scene now. Eiichi was a tad bit curious, but he strolled away from the scramble without looking back. Maybe head out to Yatsuya today to stretch his legs a bit? Yatsuya, a neighborhood of the Shinjuku ward and the southeast part of Tokyo, located approximately 4 kilometers northeast of Shibuya Station. While the numbers 428 in Japanese can be pronounced the same as the syllables for the name Shibuya, they can also be pronounced like the syllables for Yatsuya. Additionally, April 28th is both Shibuya Day and Yatsuya Day, along with Seniors Day. It was best not to get distracted. There was trash that needed collecting. Bad at number 7. Your future is garbage. Oh no, I didn't read that. I was very curious to see where that would have went. Let's see. Am I doing really well? I'm trying my best, but I feel like I'm really, like, butchering them. Let's see. I didn't read the hint for that. There was something there that said that maybe I should try... Was it try talking to the girl or not talking to the girl or something? Or not interfering? Crap, I can't remember. Let me go back with A. Something I don't really tell a lot of people, not like I'm hiding it or anything, but I have an appreciation for visual novels because I like games that have, like, well, I can't just say I like games that have story no matter what, but I like games that have story with a good, well, you know, a good story, or something that I would find good. And a lot of people, like, look at visual novels and they're like, if I want to read a book, I'll read a book. And the way I look at things is, if there's a good story to be had here, and there's, like, I was about to say, and there's visuals, and then I make it sound like, oh, you're like a kid reading a pop-up book. Anyway, oh Lord, let me try that again. So, anyway, I kind of look into the visual novels because they do sound like they have very interesting stories. Or they can have very interesting stories. I'm not one of those people who look at it and be like, oh, if I want to read a book, I'll read a book, and then pass on it. Like, or not even look twice at it. I'll give things a try. If I see something that grabs my interest or has me curious, I may take a look in on some, like, videos of people playing said, like, visual novel, and then I'll go from there if it's something that I want to purchase and venture in myself or not. So yeah. Anyway, let's go with A again. I can't remember what it was that it told me that I needed to do. Just want to Let's see what the, what was it that I needed to do? I can't remember. If Eiichi hadn't acted on impulse when he saw Kano hidden for Hiromi, things might have acted. But now, how can he make Kano make sure Kano doesn't return to the Scramble and startle Eiichi? Key lies further along Kano's story. Okay. I gotta go back to Kano's story. I know what I gotta do. Okay. No, this seems like all the best parts of playing a good story game without having to be distracted by missing button cues and being scared of dying. This is cool. I've never seen one of these before. Yeah, honestly, this is the second visual novel I played. The first one was, I think it's called Psychopaths. It's an anime. If you're into anime or you know things about anime, then you probably heard of it because it's something that's well known or well heard of. That it was pretty popular. I think it was called Psychopaths, Mandatory Happiness. The only thing is that wasn't streamable. The whole game was blocked, streaming on the PS4. Orejo was streaming a little bit of it, and I'm like, you know what, right now, and I'm like, the whole game is talking, and there's not a whole lot of, like, there was some selection in the game, but a lot of it was reading, and there was not many choices in the game to do. And I remember getting the platinum for it. I had to do like 3 or 4 runs of it just to get the platinum. But long story short, Orejo was like, yeah, I can't play this on stream. This is something I gotta, do off stream. But yeah, I used to really like to read pick the story ending books when I was younger, and this super reminds me of that. And yes, I've heard of that anime, but I've never seen it. I've watched it, and it's okay. It's not bad. I know of the anime. Tomo knows, but never really seen it. Okay. All right. Let's go with A. Letting the perp escape now is too big of a risk. You had to catch this guy ASAP. This is what I was going to go for, and I thought, you know what? I was told to back off, so I'm going to go with backing off, because I'm going to do what I was told. Usually in action scenes, in in action movies, you'll have somebody's boss saying, hey, you stop doing that right now, and it's like, no, my gut instinct says to keep doing this, and then they do it, and then they actually end up in a bad situation, but they chose right to begin with, to continue with what they were doing because of this bad situation happening, that kind of thing. This is basically what's happening here, but I just was like, you know what, I'm going to listen to my boss and be like, okay. Alright. Letting the perp escape now is too big of a risk. He had to catch this guy ASAP. The man darted down the narrow alleyway. Kano ran faster. The man sprinted through the side streets. Evidently, he knew his way around Shibuya pretty well. He noticed two people over by a trash pile. At first, they appeared to be a young couple. Then, looking more closely, he realized that the girl was Hitomi. Mr. Kyuze, I've located Hitomi Asawa. The couple took off running. The rough-looking guy dragged Hitomi by the hand. She's with a man in his 20s. It looks like she's been led away against her will. Clarify, please, Kyuze demanded. What's going on? I'm not sure. Was this guy a member of some criminal group? It looked like the two were running away from something. Alright, we'll handle the foreigner. You go after Hitomi. Got it. Kano sprang into action. Stop right there! The young man glanced back at Kano, but rather than stopping, he picked up speed, continuing to drag Hitomi along with him. She didn't seem quite able to keep up. Kano knew he could catch them. He tried to close the distance in a sprint. After a short distance, the young man stopped, realizing he couldn't outrun his pursuer. Shielding Hitomi behind him, he glowered at Kano. Why did you run off? Kano demanded. Because you were chasing us. A blatant lie. People didn't just bolt like that without good reason. The young tough started. Oh, right. Okay, yeah. The young tough started edging away, keeping Hitomi behind him. Kano followed. Look, just let the girl go. The guy glanced back at Hitomi. She shook her head fearfully. Maybe this troublemaker had warned her to keep her mouth shut. You've got this, Kano. Just don't let them out of your sight. Gah! A sudden blow to the top of his head left him staggering. His eyes spun as he reeled with vertigo. There was a flapping sound, and a vague black shape wheeled above him. Was that a crow? Yes, that was a crow. Totally a crow. It was the last thing Kano saw before his vision went dark. Bad end. Oh my god. Number 3. Was that a crow? In the midst of chasing the man who snatched the attached case, Kano happened across Hitomi and Aichi. While confronting them, he suffered a blow to the head and was knocked out cold, but Aichi only came this way because he thought it was the quickest way to escape it with Hitomi. If he'd gone for the police box instead, things might have gone differently. The key is what Aichi does at 10:35. Okay. So now I gotta go back at 10:35 to Aichi's. Wait, what? Oh, 10:35, right? Yeah, so basically, the storyline of this game, Tomo, is that the female that this guy was dragging behind him, was is a twin sister of a girl that got kidnapped, and she was holding a ransom briefcase of like, I think it was like 50,000 yen, I think it was, and they had the police surrounding this place, and they were waiting for the perp to come by and get the briefcase so they can, catch the person, but distractions were happening, and then somebody ended up taking off with the briefcase. It was a foreigner. So a lot of the officers went after her, or after the foreigner, but he, Kano, ended up, was either able to, continue going after the foreigner, but he was called to go back. But if you go back, then it ends in a different way. So all this is like, it's a lot of jumping back and forth, kind of like to see where things are going. And then once something happens, like, you're able to continue the other person's, like, his story from that point on. Okay, I'm gonna go back with A, see what happens here. But here's what I don't get, though. It said get him to do something differently at 10:35. But I selected both of these outcomes, so I'm not really sure. Oh, here we go. With a single fluid motion, the man lifted up the gun and pointed it in the girl's direction. He was aiming right for her head. Now it's playing out a little bit differently, even though I selected that as a outcome. Huh? The girl had noticed the man with the cane now. Seeing the gun pointed right at her, she froze in fear. H.E. didn't hesitate. Breaking into a full run, he tackled the gunman with all his might. Caught off guard, the man sprawled to the pavement. But the would-be assassin kept hold of his weapon and quickly scrabbled back to his feet. H.E. knew he had to act fast. He grabbed the ashen-faced girl by the arm and attempted to drag her away. "This way," he shouted. She just stared at him, uncomprehending, trembling like a startled animal. "Come on, run!" Finally, the girl snapped out of her daze and gave a fearful nod. "A, the police box, let's go," and B, "let's just get out of here." The police box has mentioned it in the hint. "The police box, let's go." Still pulling the girl by the hand, H.E. headed for the police box outside the train station. But it was empty. There was always policemen staffing these things. Why did it have to be unmanned now? H.E. flashed a worried glance behind them and saw the assassin in pursuit like a man possessed. Yikes, this is not good. There was nothing they could do but run. With the frightened girl in tow, H.E. ran beneath the JR Yamanote Line railway overpass. Yamanote Line, a railway loop line that services the Tokyo metropolis. Typically, the morning rush is quite intense, with the stretch from Ueno Station to Okachimachi Station, sometimes crowded as high as 260% capacity. Roughly 300 people riding in a space designed for 143 passengers, unrelated to the Yamada Line subway that operates in the city of Kobe. "Don't worry, just trust me, he told her. But first, they sped past a convenience store where an employee was cleaning up the sidewalk. "Here, take this, will ya?" H.E. tossed over the bag of trash. "Huh? Wait, what?" "This way." They slipped through the crowd and into a nearby back alley. "But this way's a dead end," the girl said, breathlessly. "Like I said, just trust me." Stopping abruptly, H.E. kicked down a wooden plank covering a gap between two buildings, clearing a space that a person could fit through. "See, we can get away through here, and you go." But the girl just stood there, looking terrified. "What's the matter?" H.E. asked. "Come on, we gotta hurry." But I... She looked at him as if he, too, was about to pull a gun on her. He could hardly blame her. After all, he was just some random guy who just turned up out of nowhere. But this was no time for dawdling. The man with the cane appeared at the end of the alley. If they just stood there, he was going to catch them. Okay, sweetheart, hear me out, he said in a rush. The name's Eiichi Endo. I live in the neighborhood, and I'm not the kind of stand idly by when a girl is being chased by some killer. So please, just trust me, and I'll do my best to keep you safe. He hoped that the look in his eyes could convince her he was being on the level. After a painfully long moment, the girl nodded her acceptance. Phew. Right, let's start with this. They had paused beside an enormous stack of beverage crates. With a quick shove, Eiichi knocked the whole pile down, sending it cascading across the pursuer's path. Now that was a close call. The man with the cane was floundering, struggling to get past the fallen crates. My bad, man, Eiichi called out. Might clean that up for me? The man scowled back at them and fumbled for his gun. Eiichi flashed him a wave goodbye, then slipped away between the buildings with the girl. Hurrying down the narrow alley, they emerged onto a side street lined with dive bars and clubs. Log lady? Okay. Assuming the man with the cane hadn't given up, he would probably lie in wait on the path back to the main road. Eiichi decided their best bet was to try to stay inconspicuous rather than risk getting caught on the move. Guess we can lie here for a bit, he said. He led the girl to the entrance of a tiny old hostess club. She followed him reluctantly. Eiichi flicked the switch inside the front door and a chintzy chandelier glowed to life. He sat the girl down on the small sofa beside the counter. Okay. She gave him a worried look. Eiichi felt the pain of embarrassment as he realized she must be thinking, oh no, don't get the wrong idea, I'm not going to try any funny business. Someone I know used to run this place. It's not in business anymore, so I figured we're safe here. The girl chuckled as evident discomfort. Alright then, she said. So, we good? We're good. Okay, well, good. Eiichi made a vague attempt to straighten his disheveled clothes. So how about some introductions? I'm Eiichi Endo, like I said earlier. You can just call me Eiichi. I'm Hitomi Asawa. Or Hitomi Asawa, sorry. You can call me Hitomi, I guess. With each new word out of Hitomi's mouth, Eiichi felt his heart sing. She was charming, personable. Just about everything about her was captivating. Eiichi had never met another girl like her. I should turn on my room light. I'm Eiichi. What? Is something the matter? You were spacing out there for a bit. Eiichi shook his head to dispel his daze. Damn it, this is no time to get all starry-eyed. He needed to think of some way to keep her safe from the guy who was after her. Look, can you tell me what the heck's going on? Please, I need to know if I'm going to help you. Right. Okay. I'm not really sure where to begin. Hitomi looked down, lost in thought. Apparently hers was a long story. Alright, she said at last. I guess I'll explain things as they happened. Wait, hold up. Could you keep it as simple as you can? I mean, I'm not really the sharpest tool in the shed. Complicated explanations ain't exactly my strong suit. Okay, Hitomi chuckled. I'll try my best. She got comfortable and then started her story. So last night somebody abducted my sister. The kidnapper demanded that I make the ransom handoff personally. He told me to stand by the statue of Hachiko in Shibuya at 10 o'clock in the morning to make the exchange, so I did. And this man came by and took the case. I'd never even pressed X on that. Hold up a sec. Eiichi had suddenly lost the thread of the conversation. 428 lost the thread. At times like this, you can press up to go back and reread what you've already seen. You can also press down to quickly scroll back through sections you have already read. A mark will appear in the upper left corner of the screen while you're paging back and forth like this. You can press the X to reread the marked page. Okay. They did that purposely. Press up to go back and reread sections you've already played through to scroll ahead through the text you've already read. Press down when rewinding and advancing like this. A book will sometimes appear in the upper left corner. Press X while this is being displayed to reread the current page. The book. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay. The kidnapper demanded that I make the ransom, 10 o'clock in the morning, and make the exchange. So I did. And this man came by and took the attached case with the money. And then afterwards, that other guy with the cane turned up and pointed his gun at me. And... well, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Could you say that again, but like simpler? Huh? Sure. I'm just having trouble following, is all. I mean, is this the plot to some movie or soap opera? No, that's not. Or some kind of hidden camera show? This is real. This really happened. The look in Hiromi's eyes were dead serious. She's got to be telling the truth. What would be the point of lying? And he had seen the attached case and the gunman himself. How much was the ransom, if you don't mind me asking? Or mind my asking? Hiromi hesitated. 50 million yen. Okay, I said 50,000. I had the right number. Wrong amount. She said after a moment. H.E. gave a whistle of amazement. The detective told me that was a typical amount for a kidnapper to ask for. It's plenty, that's for sure. I guess that's good money, and I guess there's good money in that sort of thing. As soon as the words were out, he realized his blunder. Sorry, I shouldn't have put it that way. Yeah, you think? He fidgeted awkwardly, and Hiromi looked away. I'm an idiot, but okay, I think I get this kidnapping thing. So I'm guessing those guys who chased the guy who took the ransom were undercover cops? He replayed the scene in his head. But then... the kidnapper took the attached case and ran, right? So if you were empty-handed, why did that guy with the cane come after you? I'm honestly not sure. I just... Hiromi's words trailed off. This was clearly difficult for her to talk about. Anyway, we should probably get you to the police as soon as we... No, we can't do that. Hiromi's tone was resolute. I can't take this to the police. Why not? H.E. waited for an answer, but none came. After a long and awkward silence, she stood up from her seat. I really appreciate the help, but I should go now. She gave H.E. a deep bow. Nuh-uh, hold on, what do you mean, go? Go where? He hurried to intervene as she headed for the door. I don't want to cause you any more trouble. I'll figure out the rest on my own somehow. Hey! I said hold on! Hiromi ignored him and opened the door, and their argument came to an abrupt halt. Standing there was the man with the cane, his revolver in his hand. To be continued. H.E.'s Endo's 10 o'clock story ends here. However, Shinya Kano still has more to do. Read along further in Kano's story. And he's all the way back here too. It's 11:54, I'm going to play a little bit more. Telling the Foreigner. Let's see, this is where I have to click into. Doesn't say exactly where to go, but we'll see. A man darted down a narrow alleyway. Kano ran faster. The man sprinted through the side streets. Evidently, he knew his way around Shibuya pretty well. The man shot out onto a major thoroughfare, then bolted up a pedestrian bridge. Just where the heck was this guy heading? Halfway across the bridge, the man stopped abruptly. Cautious, Kano stopped as well. Height, roughly 190 centimeters. Age, 30s. Hair, dark brown. Clothing, all black. A moment later, the man flashed a triumphant sneer, and he held up the attached case. Before Kano could even yell stop, it was already too late. The man threw the attached case down to the roadway below. No! Panicking, Kano peered over the railing. A man on a motorcycle was waiting beneath the bridge. I've been had. Kano bit his lip hard. Damn it! Kano sprinted back down the bridge. Hearing the bike's engine roar to life, he had to make it in time. Descending the stairs 4 at a time, he leapt toward the roadway, but the bike sped out of reach and roared away in the direction of Yoyogi, leaving Kano and its dust. Looking back up at the overpass, he saw the man who had thrown the attached case running away. He handed the money off to someone else? He's currently on a motorcycle heading toward Yoyogi. His report to Guze complete, Kano slumped down in dismay. The cops had played right into the criminal's hands. Now the crooks were getting away and people's lives were in danger. Was there any greater failure for a policeman? Staring off into the distance where the man who'd thrown the case had disappeared, Kano gritted his teeth. Then we got a bad end. Nope, to be continued. Okay, great. And that happened from 10:30 to 11, exactly? Interesting. You finish reading both character stories for the hour of 10 o'clock and 4:28. You'll make your way through all the protagonists' stories in parallel like this. Once everyone has reached the end of a given hour, the next hour can begin. Can we drop the pleasantries? Sir, this was a waste of time. I've got work for you. It's like totally bogus. What makes any of this my crimes? 11 o'clock hour to the 12 o'clock hour. 4:28. Shibuya Scramble. Almost seems like that was just like the whole thing for the opener. But I guess it was, technically. Welcome to Shibuya. Bronze trophy achieved. That was my first trophy. Good job. This is the end of the tutorial for this part of the story. You can reread previous tutorial messages via the main menu. There's a lot of important info in there, so reread it closely. Now 4:28 has reached 11 o'clock time block. You have 5 protagonists available. Whose story will you read first? Interesting. So, we got Kano, Minorikawa, Osawa, Tama, and Eiji. And then we're back to Kano. But as much as I would love to continue, I've been streaming for 2 hours. This is where the demo ended, basically. If you weren't here from for the beginning when I was mentioning this, there is a demo for this game, and that's how long the demo was. And when it showed like scenes, like, you know, of like things to choose from and like characters to play as, I don't know why, but this character here had me totally, what's the word I'm looking for? This character here had piqued my interest. I'm just like, what? So this is the reason why I wanted to. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to get this game. Besides the fact of me saying that I enjoy, you know, I have an appreciation for visual novels. Oh my god, I'm really feeling it in my throat though after all that reading. Because when I stream, I don't really talk all that much. I mean, I talk, but excuse me. Kitty, Tama, and me. Wow, that was only the tutorial? Yeah. It's basically telling you, like, because it doesn't carry, like, on, like, as a normal visual novel, I guess, where a visual novel is, you play from start to finish, where you get to choose, like, whatever option you want, and then, like, you know, until it gets you to the end of the game, and then you would have to, like, restart the game from the beginning, and then choose, like, you know, different, like, paths, just to see what kind of ending you get, or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. So they're doing the whole jump in between character, like, you know, jumping between characters, like, oh, this is a bad end because this is what happened, but in order for this to change, you need to go back to play as this character to change this person's outcome, and it's all over the place. It is, but I'm enjoying the story so far. It is a bit on the mysterious side, and it piqued my interest enough to see where this was going. But I think I'm going to end things here for part 1. I'm going to be playing more of this tomorrow, Wednesday. I just need a break with, I just need a break reading. I'm basically reading it out loud there for my friend to follow suit there, for when she goes to watch this. I tried to get in a hold of her earlier, but I couldn't get any response, so she may have been sleeping or busy tending to other things, but anyway, yeah. Seriously, my throat. I'm gonna try to stream at least an hour of this game a day. If I can continue further on from that, I'll go higher. But, because I remember doing the demo for this game, and my throat was like hurting the rest of that day and the next day. I remember, because I was just like, oh my god, all this from reading this out loud, that's crazy. But anyway, yeah, anyway, I'll continue playing this tomorrow, as I said. If you're here or others are here, then I'll take a vote on who I should play as first, for the 11 o'clock hour. And with that being said, I would like to thank B-Gamer for popping in, Kakashi for popping in and hosting me, and Tomo Arigato for popping in as well. Tomorrow I'll be doing part 2. Maybe we'll start with Tama, the kitty mascot for something? I'm assuming this is a mascot, because people just don't dress like this for the sake of dressing like this in Japan, right? Right? Like, and I don't mean cosplaying. Like, it's either this is a mascot or this is a cosplayer. Either way, I'm very curious of what this person's story is and how they come into this whole thing. Maybe they're maybe this person's the mastermind and we don't know it. Maybe this would be a cute mastermind who's going for that 50 million yen. This cat could have been that motorcycle person. We don't know, because we don't know the face underneath this, you know, under the cat's head. We don't know. Could be anything. You better play Tama. Well, I'll take vote. I'll take vote on, if there's multiple people here when I go to start this stream up tomorrow for part 2, I'll take vote. But if there's only one person and they say Tama, then I guess it's going to be Tama. But if nobody's here when I go to start to take vote, then I'm going to choose somebody. So I'll just put it like that. Thanks for the streaming, hun. You better play Tama. Yes, they do. Yeah. This is normal. This is normal work attire for Japan. Okay. I'm sorry. I take it all back. I didn't mean to be rude. This is a normal attire for Japan. Japanese people. I get it. We don't need to know the face. Yeah. It would be nice if we never see the person's face underneath the cat head, but I'm going to assume we probably will eventually see it. But is Tama a male name or a female name? Tama sounds more along of a male name. It can be both? Okay. I guess that kind of makes sense, where it could be both when somebody says their name is Jamie, right? Jamie could be a male, Jamie could be a female, too. So I guess in this sense it makes sense, but I don't know. Like Sam. There could be Sam as a male and Sam as Samantha for a female. So, yeah. I don't mean to, you know, sound rude and condescending when I'm like, oh, Tom is a male name, that can't be a female. But I don't know. I'm not really familiar with anybody by the name of Tama and, like, movies or cartoons or anime that I've ever seen. So I couldn't really relate if it was more of a male name or a female name. But anyway. Is it a child? Maybe. Would that be a child? I hope it's not a child. If that's a child, that would gotta suck. Alrighty. Alright, like I said, I will stream more of this tomorrow, probably not as late. But, if you can join, great. If not, then, I don't know, maybe another stream at another time. Alright. Thanks for watching, everyone. Y'all have a good night. I am going to go unwind down and rest my throat for tomorrow. I'll be there. Awesome. Sounds great. Hopefully you'll be up and or awake, depending, I don't know, if you're going to call it a late night or sleep in. I'm not really sure what your schedule would be like for tomorrow, or how you go about with your life, but yeah, I'll probably most likely be streaming when you're up anyway, so, but yeah. Alright, sounds good. Looking forward to seeing you there, if you make it. Alright. See you, everyone.